Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and learn how to read the actual numbers behind your next big real estate decision. I mean, think about this for a second. People will happily spend weeks reading reviews, watching tutorials, and comparing specs just to buy a $1,000 television. But when it comes to dropping $500,000 on a house, far too many buyers just wing it based on a gut feeling. Buying real estate is literally one of the most significant financial milestones most of us will ever reach, and trust me, it requires a little bit more than just good vibes. Look, it is incredibly easy to fall head over heels for a gorgeous kitchen backsplash or a stunning mountain view. You walk into an open house, instantly start mentally arranging your couch in the living room, and suddenly, boom, you are ready to sign away your life savings. But those cosmetic features are absolutely not going to pay the bills when the harsh, hidden realities of home ownership setting. We are entirely too quick to picture our future dinner parties while completely forgetting to check the neighborhood's property tax history. So, to keep you from making the biggest financial mistake of your life based purely on emotion, we are going to walk through a data-driven buyer's checklist together today. We'll hit the emotional buying trap, reading the broader market, decoding property-specific signals, calculating true investment value, uncovering hidden costs, and finally, letting data lead your decisions.
All right, jumping right into part one, the emotional buying trap, and why letting feelings lead can cost you. We really have to acknowledge right out of the gate that real estate will always have an emotional dimension. It's totally human nature to want a beautiful place to live, right? But there's a saying that perfectly captures the danger here. Too many buyers let emotion drive the process, ignoring the metrics that actually determine whether a property is a smart investment. You just cannot afford to ignore the metrics. The numbers actually tell a fascinating story, and the most successful buyers, the ones who really win at this, simply shift their mindset to read that story objectively before letting their feelings take the wheel. That brings us to section 2, reading the broader market, where we look at macro market metrics. Before you even think about stepping through the front door of a house, you need to understand the macro reality of the city or neighborhood you're looking at. Okay, so here is where we get into the weeds a bit. The crucial first step is calculating the price-to-rent ratio to establish an objective baseline before you start negotiating. This is incredibly straightforward, I promise. You just take the home's listed price and divide it by the annual rental income it could generate, or by the annual rent you would otherwise be paying if you didn't buy. So if the home you're eyeing is listed at $300,000 and the annual rent would be $30,000, you divide those two numbers to get your ratio.
15. Seriously, you want to burn this number into your brain because an index below 15 is your absolute green light. Historically speaking, hitting below this threshold means housing prices are actually reasonable relative to local incomes and rental values.
It gives you instant clarity on what you're walking into. A ratio below 15 generally signals a buyer's market where purchasing makes total financial sense. On the flip side, anything above 20 heavily favors just renting instead. If you're looking at a ratio of, say, 22, you are essentially paying a massive premium just to own the property, and your money would literally go much further by renting and investing the difference elsewhere. Running this one simple calculation keeps you grounded in reality before you even contact a realtor. Next up, you need to measure how quickly available homes are selling by looking at the market absorption rate. Think of this as the ultimate real-world test of supply and demand. You divide the number of homes sold in a given period by the total number of homes that are currently sitting available on the market. But here's the trick. You have to use recent data, meaning just the last 30 to 90 days. That is the only way to do this accurately, because real estate momentum shifts incredibly fast. This instantly helps you calibrate your negotiating position before you ever submit an offer. An absorption rate above 20% means you are firmly in a seller's market, leaving your negotiating power incredibly low. But if it reads below 15%, you are in a buyer's market with very high negotiating power. Keeping an eye on this data ensures you never overplay your hand when sellers have all the leverage or underplay it when you're the one holding the cards. Let's move to section 3, decoding property-specific signals, diving into specific home analysis. This is how we take that macro data and apply it when you find a specific property you actually really like. You've got to look at the days on market, or DOM. That's just the number of days a property has been listed for sale. Why is DOM so critical? Well, because the longer a house sits, the more leverage shifts away from the seller and directly into your hands. It is one of the most underused metrics in residential real estate, but pulling this history and comparing it to the neighborhood average is absolutely essential.
Think about it. If a house has been sitting for 60, 90, or 120 days, it is screaming at you that something is wrong. Either the price is entirely too high for the neighborhood, there is a nasty underlying issue with the home itself, or buyer demand in that area has drastically softened. Meanwhile, if houses are flying off the market in 4 days, you don't have time to sleep on it. Your offer needs to be aggressive and immediate.
And whatever you do, never skip your comparative market analysis, or CMA. Reviewing the price per square foot across similar recent sales will tell you exactly how finished basements or extra garages affect value in that specific neighborhood. A CMA strips away the seller's emotional pricing and forces them to face the reality of what the neighbor's house just sold for. Honestly, it truly is the closest thing to an objective valuation you will get before the bank orders a formal appraisal.
Okay, pivoting a bit to Section 4, calculating true investment value. Because when you rent a property out, you're essentially buying a business. If you're buying with the intention to generate rental income, your focus needs to shift strictly to the long-term reality of the investment.
To see if the property will actually make you money, you have to look at the capitalization rate, or cap rate. For investors, this is universally recognized as the single most important metric for evaluating your potential return. It's like the ultimate BS detector for investment properties. It strips away all the marketing fluff and tells you exactly how hard your money is going to work.
Let's break down the math simply. Step 1, you find the property's net operating income. Step 2, you divide it by the property's current market value. 2 quick steps that reveal the true earning power of the real estate. For example, if your property generates $10,000 in net income a year and costs $100,000, that is a solid 10% cap rate. Generally speaking, typical cap rates run somewhere between 4 and 10%. But keep in mind, agents who specialize in investment communities, like the folks at Red Ledges Real Estate, they know that local amenities and lifestyle factors heavily influence where you land on that spectrum. Contrast an up-and-coming Midwestern town that might yield a high 10% cap rate with a luxury beachfront property that sits closer to 4%. A national average just cannot capture those local lifestyle nuances. Which brings us to Section 5, uncovering the hidden costs, going way beyond the listing price. The purchase price you see online is only the beginning, folks. A seemingly affordable home can quickly become a massive financial stretch once the keys are actually in your hand. Data-driven buyers model all of these hidden variables together, and they often find that a slightly higher-priced home actually costs less per month when the dust settles. You absolutely must look beyond the listing price and factor in property tax rates, insurance premiums, and those sneaky HOA fees that always seem to go up exactly when you didn't budget for them, not to mention your average monthly utility costs and anticipated maintenance. The golden rule of thumb here, 1%. Budget 1% of the home's total value every single year for maintenance alone. If you buy a $400,000 home, you need to mentally set aside $4,000 every single year just for when the water heater inevitably explodes or the roof springs a leak. If you aren't factoring a full 1% into your annual financial modeling, your math is dangerously incomplete. Which leads us to our final takeaway, Section 6. Let data lead decisions. Because at the end of the day, the numbers tell the story. By looking past the cosmetic appeal and running these specific metrics first, the right home will become glaringly obvious to you. There's this fantastic philosophy: let the data lead and let the emotion confirm. Buyers who consistently make sound decisions allow the cold, hard metrics to lead the way, and they only use their emotions to confirm what the math already proves. You run the numbers to find out if it's a smart buy. Let the data lead and let the emotion confirm. So, as you gear up to make what is probably the biggest purchase of your life, I want to leave you with this to investigate further. What story are the numbers really telling about your next home? Don't let a beautiful view blind you to a terrible investment. Calculate the price-to-rent ratio, understand the absorption rate, and crunch those hidden costs. Do the math today so you aren't paying for the mistake tomorrow.